Magandang umaga po. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The 10th hearing on proposed Senate Resolution number 826 is hereby called to order. May we hear from Attorney Sara Ariola the names of our witnesses and resource persons present today, and those who were not able to comply with the subpoena.
Mr. Chair, all the subpoenas ad testificandum and duces tecum were duly served, except for the subpoena ad testificandum for Gerardo Limlingan and Margaret Licnoc. Everyone's present except for COA auditors, Engineer Nemesio A. Avestruz, Engineer Roberto G. Ferrer, the officials of the City Government of Makati, Mayor Jejomar S. Binay Jr., Attorney Eleno M. Mendoza, Engineer Mario V. Badillo, Engineer Line de la Peña, Ms. Visa Marie Eldon, Mr. Danilo Villas, Ms. Ebeng Baloloy, Mr. Mr. Liberato Sharon, Ms. Marjorie De Vera, Engineer Nelson Irasga. For Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, Mr. Manuel Chua and Mr. Conrado Cuesta. For Vive Hotel, Ms. Gracelyn Tolentino, Ms. Ranji Ramirez. Mariras Realty and Development Corporation, Mr. Gerardo Limlingan, Ms. Erlinda Chong, Ms. Margaret Licnoc, Ms. Kim Sfer S. Chong, Mr. Kim Toon S. Chong, Ms. Irene S. Chong, Ms. Amy S. Chong, Ms. Iris S. Chong. Omni Security Investigation and General Services, Ms. Bernadette Portaliano, Ms. Irene Lopez, Ms. Aida Alcantara, Agri Fortuna Incorporated, Mr. Laureano Gregorio, and its directors, Mr. Tomas Lopez, Ms. Danilia Barlis, Ms. Mitzi Osidillo, Greenergy Holdings, Mr. James Chu, and Ms. Anne Lorraine Bencamino.
There's a latecomer here, but you might have mentioned his name.
Sir, he's from COA.
Okay na?
Yes.
Sorry. Senator Trillanes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move that we compel the named persons to explain their absence for today's hearing. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
So the Secretariat is directed to issue to the named personalities a show cause order requiring them to explain why they are absent in today's hearing despite the service of subpoena, and the deadline for their explanation is on November 5. So to be filed on or before November 5. Okay, so may I ask Attorney Ariola to administer the oath to witnesses who are facing this committee for the first time.
Mr. Chair, just before that, in relation to the show cause order, Mr. Laureano Gregorio is an essential resource person. So if we do not accept his show cause order, I'm now putting on record that I'll move that he be held in contempt and an order of detention be issued. May we put that on the record? Next, Mr. Chair, may I ask if Mr. Bautista is a resource person?
No, he's not. Attorney Bautista, please.
Good morning, Chair.
Please take your proper place.
We do not allow gate
yes,
crashing in
yes.
this hearing, sir, and you're not allowed to speak. So
Mr.
please,
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, good morning.
Mr.
Attorney
Bautista, you are not
please.
a resource
I would like
person.
to state that.
Sir Chair, may I ask the Sergeant
will
of
be
Arms to
speaking.
remove Mr.
Bautista,
Mr. Chairman,
you-
may I
you-
request to be recognized?
Mr. Chairman,
Congressman-
is also not a resource person. They can write the committee, they can, but they cannot gate crash a. He is a congressman. He knows the rules of the Senate and the House. If you wish to write the committee, but you cannot just raise your hands here and come when you're not a resource person. You write a letter to us, then we will do.
Okay, as a compromise, I will declare a recess and I will talk to the two of you to find out. The recess for a few minutes.
Gumagawa ng eksena eh.
Okay, so session resumed.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, no need to engage in a word war.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mercado.
There's no word war here. The point here, Mr. Chairman, is that the two gentlemen who are the spokesmen of the Vice President does not have any authority to speak in behalf of the Vice President. In the huddle, I went over to them and I asked them, meron po ba kayong sulat na ino-authorize kayo ng Vice President na magsalita kayo para sa kanila? Wala daw po. So ang problema po, magsasalita sila dito, pag mali yung sinabi, sasabihin ng Vice President, spokesman ko lang nagsabi yan, hindi totoo yan. So the Vice President's representatives or he himself is welcome here, Mr. Chairman, if they give us a letter saying that the Vice President authorizes them. If not, Mr. Chair, they are mere spectators, and unfortunately, with 100 million Filipinos, we cannot allow anyone and everyone to speak, especially if it's not their personal knowledge. No? Now, if they want to submit evidence, they can submit it in any form, and it will be considered by the committee. If the Vice President wants to come himself or submit, we will accept it. But, Mr. President, this is the first time in my 17 years in Congress that a person came into the hearing and sat down without even raising their hands or asking the chairman. And one of them are our colleagues, a member of Congress. So this is a very bad precedent. But for the record, Mr. President, para lang matapos na to, I just like to let them know that that is a criminal offense. Under the revised penal code, no, you cannot stop a committee hearing or a legislative session. That's a criminal offense. But let us let it pass. Baka emotion lang yan. But we have to go to our topic, Mr. Chair. So thank you very much for interceding, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so the chair has made a ruling that Attorney Bautista and Congressman Chanco will not be allowed to speak during this hearing because they have not been invited as witness or resource person. And for the record, the Vice President has been invited by the formally by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee through Chairman Gingona to attend a hearing on November 6 at 10 o'clock in the morning, okay, regarding this particular proposed Senate Resolution 826. So may I ask Attorney Sara to administer the oath to our new witnesses and resource persons?
Please.
And then remind the others.
For those who are here for the first time, please stand up and raise your right hand. Do you affirm to swear? Do you affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? For the record, Mr. Chair, the resource persons answered in the affirmative.
Thank you, Attorney Ariola. And for the record, in fairness to Mr. Chu, because I have been announcing that he has not submitted a copy of his agreement with Mr. Laureano R. Gregorio Jr., he submitted only at 9:22 a.m. today a one-page agreement. between Mr. Laureano R. Gregorio Jr. and Antonio L. Chu for Sunchamp Real Estate Development Corporation, which is not even notarized. Tama, Mr. Chu? Correct, okay. Not notarized, one page, and the subject matter is 400 million pesos. Okay.
Mr.
He
Chairman.
gave us the thumbs up for the record.
Well, we won't accept a thumbs up. Mr. Chu, can you use the microphone? I think you have a voice. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Your Honor, I submitted the one-page memorandum of agreement between myself and Mr. Gregorio. This is a standard practice, and this is not the first time that I've entered into an agreement based on the one-page memorandum of agreement, Your Honor. Thank you.
And it is not notarized, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes. And last hearing, Mr. Chu, October 22, I ask you, what will happen if Mr. Gregorio will fail to deliver his deliverables within 2 years? You said, you gave me an answer. Is that found in the contract? You said, yes. It's not here. The answer that you gave.
Your Honor, even if it's not in the contract, it's a legal thing. It's understandable that when someone failed to, we cannot. If they did not deliver, then the contract is rescinded.
Oh, but it is not, that scenario is not governed in the contract as you have given us this morning. Anyway,
Mr. Chair, just one
Senator
question on the same
Cayetano.
topic.
Your Honor, it's deemed written in. It's deemed in the contract.
Mr. Chu,
Yes.
may I just remind you?
Sure.
Your lawyers can give you advice as to your rights,
Yes.
but they cannot tell you the answer to the question.
Your Honor,
So if the question is legal and you cannot answer it, you can say, I do not know the answer to that, can my lawyer answer it? But he cannot tell you it is written into it. He can tell you can refuse to answer the question because under the Constitution, this is your right. But they cannot coach you. So
Thank
let
you.
me just remind you of that.
Thank you for the reminder, Your
Okay.
Honor.
But
at any
if
rate,
honestly you do not know, or because it is a legal thing, or you delegated it, you can point to the person who knows and they can answer. Having said that, Mr. Chair, may I just clarify one thing? Ito lang po yung dokumento. There's no other deed of sale, there's no other annexes, because I don't want later on, pagka after the next few hearings, biglang meron ng ibang pang dokumento. So this is the only document as far as the sale is concerned.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then another thing, I won't discuss it now, so I won't take the time of the two gentlemen and our resource persons. But Mr. Chair, right now, I will dispute that it is standard practice. Maybe for a MOA, but not for a MOA that is in disguise of a deed of sale. Because any lawyer will tell you that if it is not notarized, ang mangyayari lang to, it's only enforceable among the parties. But to third parties, meaning Mr. Laureano can sign 1,000 of this to any other. I can come here tomorrow with the same and say in good faith, I did it, and hindi na sa'yo yung lupa, sa akin na. So any lawyer would advise you, di ba? So anyway, I'll discuss that later, Mr. Chair. I prepared something for that. But let me just say that that is the opinion of Mr. Chu, that it's standard practice. But the Civil Code Article 1358 says otherwise. And let's go to that later on. So Mr. Chu, for the record, wala nang iba.
Your Honor, that's
Ito lang. Okay.
that's the contract that we signed, and we believe that we are legally protected with that contract.
Okay. Lastly, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chu, anong ibig sabihin, you can speak English, Filipino, Chinese? Can you use the mic, sir? Sorry.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. In all three languages, what does anytime mean? Kahit anong oras? Anytime. Tama po?
Tama.
Does anytime in your language mean 3 to 5 only?
3 to 5.
Yes? Because you told this committee, anytime pumunta kayo sa farm, you're all welcome.
Yeah.
Pagdating ni Senator Trillanes doon, only 3 to 5 lang daw pwede.
Your Honor,
Hindi anytime yun.
Your Honor, may I clarify?
Go ahead.
Your Honor, if you want to take the record of the last Senate hearing, the last statement of the chairman is the Senate staff will coordinate with me But after I left, until midnight, wala po ako natanggap na advice, and I was invited to guest in an interview the next morning. To avoid confusion and to avoid that the honorable senator goes to my place without myself being there, I asked my lawyer to send the Senate subcommittee a letter stating my time, just to avoid wasting precious time of the honorable senators, Your Honor.
Baliktad nangyari, Mr. Chu, you wasted our time. And not only that, you added suspicion dun sa mga kwarto na hindi mo pinakita na nandun nakatago yung mga gamit ni Binay. Because sa inspection, maraming mga paintings at maraming mga gamit na halatang halata sa shadow ay tinanggal. At may mga kwarto na hindi mo pinayagan tignan dahil sabi mo may bisita. So, Senator Trillanes here said, Sir, bukas, umaga, para hindi na sila makapagligpit. Nagtawanan ng mga tao dito. And of course, some people felt baka off yung sinabi ni Senator Trillanes. Ba't niya sasabihin baka magligpit? May judgment na siya. Pagdating nila ng lunchtime doon, wala man lang daw adbiso. Wala daw nagsabi. Pati hindi nila alam yung oras. Hinabol yung sulat, and yung sulat ay pinadala nyo nung umaga. Samantalang, Mr. Chu, if you just allow them inside, even if wala ka doon, and meron ka naman security doon at pinaikot mo, at least ngayon walang suspicion na may tinago kayo doon. But now, can you blame people na pagdating, can you blame the Senate media who was there with them na nung dumating doon ayaw ipakita yung loob?
Your Honor, may I set
Of course.
for clarification, I want to set the record straight. I did it in good faith to avoid wasting the time of the good senators. And I have all the witness from the media that wala po akong tinatagong lugar para hindi nila pwede tingnan.
Sandali lang, Mr. Chu, ha? Anuhin na natin yan, eh. Kasi nung last hearing dito, paulit-ulit ka pa, sabi mo, tanungin natin si Henry. Papuntay natin si Henry. That same night, nag-report si Henry. Sa report niya, sinabi niya yung mga lugar na hindi niyo pinayagan pumasok. And in this inspection, you said my guest, di ba? Saan kwarto yun? Senator Trillanes was there. Senator, which were the areas that they refused entry because they said my guest daw sila?
The so-called Stables Hotel.
Oh. So now are you changing?
No.
You just said 2 minutes ago, walang area na hindi pinagbawalan. You refused them entry to the Stables Hotel, hindi ba?
Your Honor, meron tayong privacy that we have to
O kaya nga,
respect.
so you refused them
Your Honor,
entry.
bastos po pag may
Hindi-
nakatira sa loob, papasukan po ng media.
Ang problema, Mr. Chu,
Mr. Chu, ang sinabi mo 2 minutes ago with a straight face sa mga camera, sir, hindi totoo, lahat pinapasok. Then when I tell you that meron hotel na hindi pinapasok, bastos po pag pinapasok, hindi issue kung bastos pag pinapasok o hindi. Ang issue, may mga lugar ba kayo na pinagbawalan nyo pumasok? Number 2, Mr. Chu, ako high school pa lang, nilipat kami ng bahay ng aking magulang kahit ayaw namin. Dahil sentimental yung bahay namin. Kahit mas maliit yung bahay namin. Pero ano sabi ng tatay ko? Kailangan natin lumipat. So lahat po nung pinunta namin, tinawagan in advance. Kahit nakakalat ang gamit nila, sir, may titingin. May sumama lang sa amin tumingin. If the day of the hearing you called your guest, sir, pasensya na po kayo. Malaking skandalo to sa buong Pilipinas. The issue here is whether I'm the owner or the vice president. Can you fix your things and can the cameras look in? Unless nga mga gamit ni Binay nandun. Kaya tingin nyo bastos kung titignan, di ba?
Your Honor, for your record, yung Stable Hotel, kahit na may guest, binuksan din po natin, pero hindi lang tayo nag-knock ng mga doors to ask for an entry to their
Ikaw na po nagsabi, Mr. Chu, na sumula ka pa sa committee na 3 to 5. Yung guest, hindi mo masulatan na, sir, 3 to 5 may titingin para siguradong wala. Kung yung mga sinabi ni Vice Mayor Mercado was ready to describe yung mga antiques at saka yung mga iba na nandun sa loob. Hindi nyo binuksan Di ba'y duda ngayon? But just 3 minutes ago, you were telling us, hindi ho, lahat ho binubuksan. So lahat binubuksan, puwera yung ibang kwarto na ayaw nyong ipakita.
Your Honor, kung gusto nyo, pwede pa rin tayo pumasyal.
1 week na kung nakalibing na yung mga yon. Hindi po ba? That was the main point of Senator Trillanes in saying baka maligpit, tignan na natin. Di ba, sir? And that was the main point that we said 6 hours, isang piraso pala to, 1 week. Alam mo, every day isa sa atin na sa media, Everyday sinasabi ng media, Sir, sinabi ni Mr. Chu, sinubmit mo na. Ano sabi kagabi sa Bandila? Ay, pinadala ko na, hindi ko alam bakit hindi nakarating. Sir, hindi naman sa pag-ano, ha? Pero medyo matikas ka dito na yumaman ako, self-made ako. 2 ang aking kumpanya na publicly listed. Bilyon ang hawak kong pera. Pero kahit na lumang fax machine o email, hindi mo to napadala sa 1 linggo. Then you expect us na hook, line, and sinker maniwala dito. Ba't hindi mo pinadala ng Friday, ng Monday, ng Tuesday, ng Wednesday? Ngayon nyo po pinadala ng 9 o'clock.
Your Honor, in fairness naman, nung nagtawag ng break si Mr. Chairman, I did call the lawyer. Dumating naman po dito nung same day. Unfortunately, wala na po tayong hearing. Nakaalis na po tayo lahat. So, the automatic reaction is bitbitin ko na lang to be safe.
Sir, Wednesday po yun, may session pa kami, at 7 o'clock kami nagsasara. Huwag naman tayo maglokohan dito. Ikaw ba, pag pumunta ka sa opisina ng gobyerno, nakita mo nakabukas pa lahat ng ilaw, nakabukas pa lahat, may Blue Ribbon Committee naman dito? Eto, tanong ko sa iyo, sir. Bakit ito po, na nakabukas lahat ng opisina, hindi nyo napadala? Pero yung notice nyo na 3 to 5 lang kayo pumunta, napadala mo?
Well, Your Honor,
Ba't hindi nyo ho sinabay na lang ito dun sa notice nyo na 3 to 5?
That was my mistake, Your Honor. I should have
Anyway,
followed your advice.
I won't argue with you, Mr. Chu, but I'm just saying, Mr. Chairman, kaya po ito tumatagal na hearing because we're not getting the cooperation that we should. Ito, napakadaling ipadala sa amin. Hindi po ito ipinadala, Mr. Chu.
Noted po, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like
Senator
to...
Trillanes.
Thank you. I'd just like to add to the point of Senator Alan Cayetano. Mr. Chu, alam nyo, high blood din kami sa inyo eh. Kaya nga, supposed to be mamaya ka pa para medyo kumalma muna kami. Pero anyway, ito yung sinabi mo. Sinabi ni Mr. Chairman, so the Office of Senator Counsel will coordinate with you for tomorrow's ocular inspection. Mr. Chu, according to the records, alam na po nila iyong lugar. Thank you. So ito yon. This is just a sample of how you lie with a straight face. And you do that well on TV. I'll grant you that. Dapat pwede ka mag-artista. Pero dito, sabi ko nga sa'yo, you will be stripped of that. Okay? Marami pa rito. Later on, iisa-isahin natin yung mga kasinungalingan na sinasabi mo na at sasabihin mo pa rin. Ito lang yung checks na sinasabi mo 11 million. Asa na yun?
Your Honor, yung pagka-check na cleared, kailangan po natin hugutin sa bangko yon.
No. Pero meron kang, may mga, mga vouchers.
Yeah, voucher.
So, di ba? All of these are just statements. Kagabi doon nga, yung pagkahumarap ka sa media, sasabihin mo, yes, we have documents, tax declarations, etc., etc. Sasabihin mo sa media kasi mas marami nakakapanood. Pero dito, ito lang And this came a week after. Hindi pa to notarized. Baka nga, kagabi nyo lang to i-print For all you know Di ba? Don't smile. Ha?
Mr. Chu,
Hindi nakakatawa to.
kailan
Hindi
nyo
nakakatawa.
in-issue yung cheque?
Your Honor, clarification. Yung cheque, I made a personal advance for 6 million last year. And
So
then,
cash, hindi cheque?
cheque, but it's a personal advance last year. And
So,
then,
sa'yo, hindi sa kumpanya?
yeah, but it's booked as an advance from myself to the company.
Nasagot nyo na yung tanong ko last week na
Yes,
bakit
yes.
wala doon, di
Yes,
ba?
yes.
Pero illegal yun.
Well, if
That's
it's
piercing the corporate veil because you're acting as if the company is just you, no?
Your Honor, last year po, Sunchamp is still a private company.
Okay, but having said that, sir, hindi ba 2 buwan, pinakamatagal 6 months, yung return check babalik sa'yo?
Well, kung may mga record naman po.
Oh, so kung last week pa bumalik sa'yo yung cheque, ba't hindi mo dinala ngayon?
Your Honor, pwede nyo po i-request lahat ng kailangan nyo.
Sir, we requested it last week. Yun ang sinasabi ni Senator Trillanes. Pero para mapagbigyan ko si Senator Trillanes, sabi niya, mainit ang ulo niya. Start muna tayo sa iba. Pero baka pwedeng si Commissioner Kim itabi natin kay Mr. Chu para imbis na uminit ulo natin, Kim Chu na lang ang makikita natin dito sa hearing na to. No? Oh.
Mr. Chu, ganito na lang, no? Because you told us a story, diba? You told us a story, so you have to back up your story with paper trail or documents which will support your story. So, ito na yon. You gave us a one-page agreement because you said that you had the rights over the land governed by a contract, and this is the one-page agreement. And if you paid twice, 6 million and 5 million, can you give us proof of payment? And then you said also that some tax declarations were surrendered to you. So if you could produce those which were surrendered to you to complete your story. Opo.
Your Honor, walang problema.
Opo.
We can list down all your requests later. I will furnish the Senate to the best of my ability, Your
Actually,
Honor.
you don't need the list because you gave us the story. So review your story, go over your story, and which are the documents you mentioned in your story, and be ready to produce them.
Everything and anything.
Yes, sana po ganon.
Mr. Chair, in other words,
because actually you voluntarily appeared before this committee because you were raring to appear, and yet you did not bring your props with you to complete your story.
Your Honor, clarification, hindi naman raring to appear. I was, as a businessman, nobody would like to be in my shoes. But as a citizen of the Republic, if I'm summoned to the Senate hearing, I tried my best to comply with the law, Your Honor.
No, I'll repeat what I said last time. No, na before I even signed your subpoena, I already heard you over radio and on TV that you were willing to appear. So, okay, so in that sense, that was really a voluntary appearance.
Mr. Chair, so that it's on the record, Mr. Chu, can you and the corporate officers of the companies involved bring everything and anything related to the purchase or alleged purchase of the Rosario property? No? So whether that will include the feasibility study, the appraisal, the checks and everything, yun lang naman po topic natin dito eh. Kung magtatanong kami beyond that, we will not take it against you na hindi mo dala. But as far as that is concerned, paayos po yun. Thank you.
Ito pa po part ng kwento nyo that at the end of this year, a 40 million check will be cleared, or di ba? A payment is due. So that means, and then there are outstanding checks you already issued, right? Post-dated. So that means you have already, your one-page agreement does not show us your timetable in making payments. But since there are already checks outstanding, so that means that you have come into an agreement with Mr. Gregorio as to timetable. So if you could give us a summary also of when the other payments are due, di ba? So because that's part of your story. Senator Trillanes?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And precisely that, since hanggang next year pa naman tayo mag-hearing, by then, na good na yung check na yon. So, makukuha pa rin natin yan. Okay?
Mr. Chair?
Just one more point, Mr. Chairman.
I'll pursue that. Under oath, you're saying it's a 40 million, under
44,
oath,
Your Honor.
44 million at the end of this year.
Yes,
Apa.
sir.
Sige pa. Thank you.
And one more point, Mr. Chairman. Yung sinasabi nila, sabi ko nga, they may have the patience to ask you again to fabricate or submit the documents. Pero sa akin, your time is up actually. 2 weeks before you appeared in this committee hearing, that's precisely your purpose, to prove that you own this, and you're supposed to voluntarily show us that you really own this place, and all these documents that were mentioned by the chairman, you're supposed to have it already, and you're supposed to voluntarily submit it. Now, 1 week has passed. You've been all over the radio and TV saying that you have documents and you will bring them to be sure that they won't be lost. And now you have this. And again, you're pretending that it wasn't requested, so you'll have time. No, you don't have any time anymore, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as the public is concerned. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, just to put it into perspective, no, if Commissioner Kim was saying that she did a lifestyle check on me and I have 20 houses, no, and Senator Pimentel comes and says, "Ma'am, hindi po kay Alan yan, sa akin yan. Can you give me a chance?" Magpa-PowerPoint po yan. Isa-isa yung bahay, isa-isa yung titulo, isa-isa yung payment, kung sa akin man hindi. Kung sa akin niya binili, yung revenue na sa akin. Kung hindi sa akin yung revenue, sa iba. Diba? But being a diligent commissioner, she will show naman whether I have been using the house at may lease ba ako, wala, etc. So, ganun yung ginagawa natin dito. Ang problema, sir, with all your gusto, no, with all your energy the last 2 weeks, you haven't presented anything here except this piece of paper. Samantalang everyone else have submitted so much, showing that it is the Binays, no. So we will get to that later, but this is another request that I'd like you to bring, no. When you bring the check, please also bring your checkbook and the checks that you issued before and after that check that you issued to Mr. Gregorio Loriano, no? The reason why, sir, is because dapat yan nakabook sa kumpanya. Nung nahuli namin na wala sa kumpanya, kasi ang agreement dito is not Mr. Chu and Loriano Gregorio. Ang agreement dito, Sanchamp. So bakit hindi Sanchamp ang nagbayad sa kanya? Bakit si Mr. Chu? Ngayon, kung yung cheque mo, it should show, di ba, na hindi kaka-issue lang yan. At that date, at the several dates, baka mamaya later on. So please bring that, no? And then ipakita nyo sa amin kung paano nyo binook sa inyong kumpanya yan. Because nandito naman yung mga taga-SEC, nandito din yung mga taga-BIR, no? But, and sir, pag sinabing all the documents, please also bring the documents of the board, no? Authorizing the sale or payment and authorizing you to advance the payment. Because if not, that's a conflict of interest. If it's such a good buy, you can say later on, ako ang bumili, hindi Sanchamp. No? So please bring that, sir. And as you said, that's standard practice. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And that is the reason why, Commissioner Henares, we invited you. Because we still did not have in our possession the contract mentioned by Mr. Chu, and I was anticipating it to be a very complicated contract, which I will refer to you for analysis as to its tax treatment. But we have a one-pager here, and we'd like to give it to you to get your. Let's give Commissioner Henares a copy of the one-page agreement. If you can give us your opinion on the tax dues, our tax treatment of this agreement. If you can do it today or in the future hearings na lang po.
Mr. Chair, with also your permission, I know the Commissioner is very, very, very busy, but if you can sit in the hearing a few more hours, because there is some questions dun po sa paglilipat-lipat ng titulo. But just to give some order before we ask you the question, maipapakita mamaya. So with your permission.
Yes, sir.
Thank
I've
you.
actually devoted, I think, the whole day for this hearing.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Chairman, may we go to Ms. Raisa Robles? She has been instrumental not only in this issue but throughout history that she's been a journalist of recording at the right time statements of public figures, celebrities, politicians, and then when issues comes up, I don't know if she just has foresight or whether, it's coincidence or whatever, she has the recording pictures of everything, no? So just to put things into context, the first, Vice President Binay went to the stock exchange. And instead of eating sa buffet, may dala siyang pagkain at nagkamay siya doon. So I saw the blog of Ms. Raisa Robles showing the mansion of the Vice President, showing a table that can fit number of people, and I read that he has an industrial kitchen, no? Meaning pwedeng pang restaurant, no? And when the Vice President and his spokesman and women said that he never owned property, etc., I read again that Ms. Robles was saying that was not the statement. So I don't want to testify for her, but Mr. Chair, since she's here today, ma'am, can you speak freely and can you narrate, no, the interview that you had with our Vice President, no? Vice President Jojo Binay, for the record.
Ms. Robles, please.
Yes. Good morning, Senators. May I read a brief statement for this? Your Honors, 2 decades ago, the Senate was my beat as a reporter. I am here today because I was summoned by a subpoena ad testificandum to appear before a subcommittee of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. The subpoena included the warning, fail not under penalty of law. When I asked what the subcommittee wanted from me, I was told that the subcommittee wanted to know if it was true I had interviewed the Vice President in 2010. I am here in my capacity as a professional journalist. I've been one for several decades. I've broken a few stories as an investigative journalist. In 2000, I unearthed the story of a Muslim Youth Foundation of then-President Joseph Estrada. 2 years ago, I wrote about the unexplained wealth of then-Chief Justice Renato Corona, and this month I wrote a series of stories for my blog about Vice President Binay. In my years as a journalist, I've interviewed numerous politicians. Before the May 2010 elections, I made it a point to interview the major presidential candidates, Senator Manuel Villar, Senator Chis Escudero before he quit the race, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro, and by chance, Senator Benigno Aquino III. I skipped Joseph Estrada, whom I had interviewed countless times, even while he was in detention. My interview with him resulted in then-President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo barring him from attending his grand school reunion. He was very sad over that. I only interviewed Vice President Binay after his stunning victory over Mar Rojas for a story I was doing for South China Morning Post. I thought then that he was aspiring for the presidency, but I needed to ask him directly about all the persistent allegations of corruption against him. I believe it is part of a journalist's job to ask the tough questions and to be as fair as possible in getting people's explanations. I'm also here as a journalist who runs a political blog where many issues are actively discussed in what my commenters have coined as Cyber Plaza Miranda, and where the commenters have provided much insight and information. I'll probably be writing about my experiences here today because I've never covered a Senate Blue Ribbon Committee story inside, we used to call it the cage. I also believe that this investigation is in aid of legislation. The probe is showing the crying need for a freedom of information law. Another thing, Your Honors, we have an anti-dummy law that punishes those who serve as dummies for foreign investors. I believe we do not have an anti-dummy law to punish those who serve as dummies to hide the wealth of government officials. I hope you can help address this. Thank you. I'm ready for your questions.
Ma'am, let me also assure you that we will not violate any of the privileges or rights granted to you by law. One of that is your right not to reveal sources.
Yes.
But our question will pertain to an interview, and this interview has been published, and I don't think he's a source but an interviewee. No? So, ma'am, you have interviewed the Vice President, correct?
Yes, Senator.
Did you bring the tapes of your interview, madam?
In fact, I have already submitted a copy of the interview I made. I used this to interview him.
Okay.
And everything was on the record, and he knew I was recording him.
Do you prefer, ma'am, to narrate it first, or can we play the tape?
You
and
can
then
play the tape.
Can we ask you
Yes.
questions regarding it? Okay.
Yes, Senator.
Can we play the Reza Robles interview tapes, please?
Baboy, kambing, pero marami siyang manok ng sabong.
So, baboy, kambing, manok, ang sabong. Kayo, sir, now, do you own for cockfighting?
Mga pang-cockfight ko, pero hindi ako nagpupunta sa cockfight.
Kayo, sir, but you own...
Natutuwa lang ko makita iba-ibang kulay for one. Number two, naglilinis yung kapaligiran. Magaling yung mga manok sa paglilinis.
Ilan, sir, ang manok nyo for cockfight?
Malaki yun. Ang ano doon, may namamahala doon.
So,
Malaki
hindi.
yung nakalagay lang doon sa lugar.
So, hindi nyo alam, sir, kung how many you own?
Hindi ko kung ilan doon. Basta kahit it's more than 100.
And these are from US or Australia?
Yun yata ang breed nun, like sa States. Pero pa sa Australia, hindi ko lang natin sa Australia. Basically, sa US.
Sir, tatanungin ko sa inyo, huwag kayong magagalit. A long time ago, actually, you showed me the room of Yabut.
When
When you took
we
over.
had that new building, so I had to leave that place.
Oo. So, yung office niyo ba, sir, may nagtatanong, meron pa bang bedroom sa office niyo?
Meron, siyempre.
Meron pa?
Hanggang ngayon, yung bagong opisina, medyo.
Doon kayo natutulog?
Pagka nandun ako, tanghalian. The only time I think I slept there night time when we were under siege.
87? Wait. Yung
2006 yata.
2006.
Yata.
There's another thing that I need to ask you, sir. Yung, may nilabas na extensive report tungkol sa'yo, ang Newsbreak before. I think that was 2001. Pero according to them, sinagot nyo naman yung mga allegations doon. But, okay, what I want to ask you is, how many houses, condos, properties do you own?
Tuloy niya,
Ha?
Kulang yung unsod ang nagsasabi niya.
Hindi, I don't care about consult, sir.
Kasi inulit na naman yung charges na yun. Condos, bahay.
Hindi, pero is it, I mean, okay, personally, and, I mean, kung anuhin niyo yung family, how many do you own houses?
Yung bahay namin, parang bahay namin sa Batangas, sa Momatos.
Oo. Wala ng condo.
Kondo, dati yung anak ko nang nakatira sa kondo, nakatira sa bahay. Si Koko Sudman.
Ngayon sa bahay na lang.
May bahay na. Sa bahay na yung bahay. Siya na lang wala dito sa bahay natin.
Okay.
At ang anak ko, tsaka yung apo ko, except yung apo ko kay Abigail. Yun na wala dito.
So yung Batangas is how many hectares?
Kasi mayroon ako yung sa babuyan.
Mga 10 hectares? 11?
Yan.
Mga around 10 hectares. Namana nyo yun?
Binili ko.
Okay. And
Binili ko nun. 20 cents lang na tayo. 30 pesos.
30 pesos per
Square meter.
per square meter.
Ma'am, can you testify that in fact, can you authenticate that in fact was the tape of your interview?
Yes, Senator.
Yeah.
The-
Let me clarify, we did not play the whole tape
Yes.
because to save time, but can you is it true that there was no splicing in the sense that words were inserted, etc. To your recollection or personal knowledge, no? Ito po yung tanong nyo at ito yung sagot niya.
Yes, Senator. The interview lasted 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 15 seconds. And I continuously tape it here. The background noise that you hear is actually my personal. I was also trying to, type what he was saying. It's a fail-safe way because I had previous experiences na I would tape something and nothing came out. So I decided to do both, and it was inside his residence in Kaong Street, Makati.
So for the record, ma'am, no, the tape was cut at certain periods to show certain topics, no, but it was not altered, it was not spliced, and the meaning or clarifications were not removed. No, every time it was cut, it went to a new topic.
Yes, Senator. In fact, the Sony tape recorder uses a proprietary program so that you can listen to it and even do things with it. I had to submit a copy of the proprietary program so that you could listen to it.
Okay.
Yes.
And we have a copy, so if anyone wants to listen to it, or kung meron pong nagdududa na yan talaga ang nakalagay dyan, no, they can listen to it under the rules and supervision of the Blue Ribbon Committee, ma'am. No? And for the record, ma'am, no, as a journalist, no, you're not partisan. You're not for or against any of these politicians. You're just reporting. Of course, you have your personal feelings, but meaning you're called here just to report on interviews that you've done. Correct?
Yes, Senator. And I make it a point that I am never socially involved with any of my sources.
Yes. In any, ma'am, of the interviews, did he also mention a property in Tagaytay?
I don't.
Kasi narinig ko lang, sinabi niya lang, yung home at saka
No,
Batangas.
he didn't.
No?
Yes. What he said there were the only things that, that word for word.
Okay. But when was this interview, ma'am?
June 29, 2010.
June 29, 2010. Because when Vice Mayor Mercado revealed that there is a Tagaytay mansion, the Alfonso property, Attorney Subido, sir, you said it was already sold in December 2012. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir.
No. Pero sa tape, hindi inamin ni Vice President na meron siyang Alfonso property. Diba? Narinig naman natin. Yes. Okay. So I just want to point that out, ma'am, na even in the interviews, inconsistent. No?
Senator, I also submitted pictures that I took during the interview. And one of the pictures, when I was reviewing the pictures, I noticed that there was this photo of several glass bowls and boxes that were wrapped in bubble wrap. I took a photo of that, and it had a tag. One tag said Batangas, another tag said Alfonso.
Yeah.
But
can we show that? I think we have those pictures now.
I have already submitted them, sir.
Yes. Nandiyan ba? Meron daw items na. During the interview, may mga nakabalot sa nakalagay isa Batangas, isa Alfonso. Ma'am, why don't we show the pictures? Then can you take us through it? What is this?
Okay.
Was
That's
this their
his
house?
living room.
Okay.
They were all aware that I was taking photos. And this
So
is
this was with their permission.
Yes,
Even the
this is
tape,
the
ma'am, no?
camera that, yeah, this
Yes.
is the camera that I use.
Even the tape, no? This is
Yes,
not...
Senator. Not
yes.
secretive.
Yes. Okay.
All open. In fact, there was another GMA. There was a GMA7 reporter.
Yes. So this is not
that
a
was-
wiretap that is illegal to be
Yes,
talked
sir.
about here because he knew you were being interviewed and he knew that he was being taped.
Yes,
Yes.
Senator.
Can you show the other pictures, then let Ms. Robles be the one to narrate?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see the first picture that was shown.
Do they need time to get it there?
Previous slide, please. Is there something wrong?
We're getting some people there to fix the problem.
Okay, so 1 minute break. Explain why they are absent in today's hearing despite the service of subpoena, and the deadline for their explanation is on November 5. So to be filed on or before November 5. Okay, so may I ask Attorney Ariola to administer the oath to witnesses who are facing this committee for the first time.
Mr. Chair, just before that, in relation to the show cause order, Mr. Laureano Gregorio is an essential resource person. So if we do not accept his show cause order, I'm now putting on record that I'll move that he be held in contempt and an order of detention be issued. May we put that on the record? Next, Mr. Chair, may I ask if Mr. Bautista is a resource person?
No, he's not. Attorney Bautista, please.
Good morning, Chair.
Please take your proper place.
We do not allow gate crashing in this hearing, sir, and you're not allowed to speak. So
Mr.
please,
Chairman, Mr. Chairman, good morning.
Mr. Bautista, you are not
please.
a resource
I would like
person.
to state that.
Sir Chair, may I ask the Sergeant of Arms to remove Mr.
Bautista,
Mr. Chairman, may I request to be recognized?
Mr. Chairman, Congressman is also not a resource person. They can write the committee, they can, but they cannot gate crash a. He is a congressman. He knows the rules of the Senate and the House. If you wish to write the committee, but you cannot just raise your hands here and come when you're not a resource person. You write a letter to us, then we will do.
Okay, as a compromise, I will declare a recess and I will talk to the two of you to find out. The recess for a few minutes.
Contractors Accreditation Board, Mr. Manuel Chua and Mr. Conrado Cuesta. For Vive Hotel, Ms. Gracelyn Tolentino, Ms. Ranji Ramirez. Mariras Realty and Development Corporation, Mr. Gerardo Limlingan, Ms. Erlinda Chong, Ms. Margaret Liknok, Ms. Kim Sfer S. Chong, Mr. Kim Toon S. Chong, Ms. Irene S. Chong, Ms. Amy S. Chong, Ms. Iris S. Chong. Omni Security Investigation and General Services, Ms. Bernadette Portaliano, Ms. Irene Lopez, Ms. Aida Alcantara, Agri Fortuna Incorporated, Mr. Laureano Gregorio, and its directors, Mr. Tomas Lopez, Ms. Danilia Barlis, Ms. Mitzi Osidilio, Greenergy Holdings, Mr. James Chu, and Ms. Anne-Lorraine Bencamino.
There's a latecomer here, but you might have mentioned his name.
Sir, he's from COA.
Okay na?
Yes.
Sorry. Senator Trillanes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I move that we compel the named persons to explain their absence for today's hearing. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
So the Secretariat is directed to issue to the named personalities a show cause order requiring them to
Gumagawa ng eksena eh.
Okay, so session resumed.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, no need to engage in a word war.
Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Mercado.
There's no word war here. The point here.
Magandang umaga po. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The 10th hearing on proposed Senate Resolution number 826 is hereby called to order. May we hear from Attorney Sara Ariola the names of our witnesses and resource persons present today, and those who were not able to comply with the subpoena.
Mr. Chair, all the subpoenas ad testificandum and duces tecum were duly served, except for the subpoena ad testificandum for Gerardo Limlingan and Margaret Licno. Everyone's present except for COA auditors, Engineer Nemesio A. Avestruz, Engineer Roberto G. Ferrer, the officials of the City Government of Makati, Mayor Jejomar S. Binay Jr., Attorney Eleno M. Mendoza, Engineer Mario V. Badillo, Engineer Line de la Peña, Ms. Visa Marie Eldon, Mr. Danilo Villas, Ms. Ebeng Baloloy, Mr. Ernesto S. Mr. Liberato Sharon, Ms. Marjorie De Vera, Engineer Nelson Irasga. For Philippine